Welcome to a Lackluster Video Podcast Halloween. Figured I'll be a scary wolf because it kind of matches the theme of today's movie. I didn't quite think through how the audio would sound, or you won't be able to see my face the whole video, so that kind of will mess up the way that I present this story. Wasn't quite expecting this road bump. Alright, I know what I'll do. I'm gonna just take off the mask and I'm gonna probably paint something scary like a werewolf design on my face. So give me 1 second. Welcome to Lackluster Video, the only video store left on Earth, and I'm the guy stuck working the counter. So I presented to you guys my horror movie list for the month of October. Each week, for the next couple weeks, may or may not be one of the movies on that list. This week's movie, Trick or Treat. Respect Halloween. Okay, so full transparency, this is a movie that I super disliked when I first watched it, and I would be like, oh, everybody who likes it is faking because they want to be in a cool clique. I could be a man and admit that was because of my ADHD and I could not pay attention to this movie. I couldn't follow it when I first watched it. I think I got lost, and then once I saw certain things happen, I was just like, this movie's too much. Anywho's, I'm an adult now. I'm not little no more. Let's see if that allowed me to appreciate the movie anymore. Alright, so this is a big cast, as you guys know. We follow 4 different stories. It's an anthology movie, so there's going to be a lot of characters introduced to make each character's story progress, but I'm going to only introduce, I guess, some of the main characters, and then if anybody really needs to be introduced throughout, I'll introduce them as I'm talking. Quinn Lord is Sam, the little creepy guy who everyone thinks is adorable, but he's also credited as playing Peeping Tommy. That's the little kid who was looking in the dressing rooms and trying to look at the girls' no spot when they were changing into their costumes. Yeah, that kid, he's also Sam. Anna Paquin is in this. She plays Lori. She's one of the more freaky main characters. Dylan Baker is Mr. Wilkins, as the kids know him. His full name is Stephen Wilkins, but in this movie, he is the principal of the kid characters. And Brian Cox plays the old man next door, Krieg. Let's talk about how Trick or Treat plays out. Just like I said before, this movie is an anthology, and we weave in and out of different characters' stories throughout. We also start with the ending, if we're talking chronologically, so the movie can be a little bit difficult to follow. I'll try my best to give you guys the idea of where we are every time we switch stories. So the beginning is what happens after the climax of the movie, and then we're brought to the top of the story, just giving some context. So we start out with this character, Rhonda, crossing the street, almost getting hit by a car. Rhonda is a little girl that we'll spend some more time with later. And then we see a couple dressed in costumes approaching their house like they just came back from a night out. These characters are named Henry and Emma, and they're having a disagreement over what to do with the decorations. Emma wants to take the decorations down because it's Halloween night. In the morning, it's going to be over. She just wants to get it over with. Henry is telling her that's not a good idea. We're supposed to leave them out through the whole Halloween night. It's tradition. She just basically sends him inside, and she stays out to take down the decorations, which this is a really cool scene, pulling down the sheets that they were using as decoration. Pretty scary. You kind of feel like, all right, one of these sheets, when she pulls them down, there's going to be someone come out. But it doesn't happen when she's pulling down the sheets. It happens when she's putting the sheets in the box. And Sam, our main character, jumps out of the box, and he does her in with a half-bitten lollipop. So we set the tone early with the opening scene. It's basically, if you don't follow the rules or traditions of Halloween, it's going to be a wrap for you. Okay, so after the murder of Emma, we get our first time hop. So now we're going to the top of the night. Back to before any of this happened that we just saw. Now we're taken to a nice downtown Halloween party, parade type of thing, and that John is busting. See, sometimes I can't kind of just say things normal. while this whole parade's going on, we're taken into this costume shop where we're introduced to a group of female friends getting changed into their costumes. Lori and her friends look like they have a big night ahead of them, like they're planning for something big to happen. And Lori is clearly like the more shy and reserved out of the group, and she seems to be like a little nervous to head out tonight. But we see them all buy their costumes, and while they're like ringing up all their stuff, they're like rizzing up this nerd behind the counter. Why can't cool things ever happen to me though? After they leave, we get insight into why this is a big night for Lori. And they also bump into the couple that we saw earlier, Emma and Henry, and they kind of just walk past them so that we could see, okay, we're earlier in the night now. That's why they did that there. They're walking down the street of that Halloween event. In this conversation, they're referring to Lori as a virgin. So she's supposed to be doing it for the first time tonight. The hell? Girls plan that out? No. We'll find out what they're talking about. Let's just put a button on that for now. Before we leave their storyline, though, they show them go and pick up more guys that are in like a news van covering the parade. They just like easily get them and say, hey, come to our party tonight. Okay, ready guys? Because now we're going to a different storyline here. We're getting introduced to this little lazy bully looking kid walking down the street, smashing people's pumpkins, being a little badass. He approaches this house that has candy out, but they're not serving candy. It's like one of them bowls that say, take one, please. But he's just taking handfuls. He doesn't give a shit what they say. He turns around to be greeted by Mr. Wilkins. Ah, Mr. Wilkins. He looks like a pretty straight-edge office-working guy. He's like the principal of their school. Wilkins like catches him stealing his candy, so he tells him to sit down. And he's kind of sitting down with him to give him a little speech, a spiel. What's the word? When you're doing a stern speech to somebody, he's gonna lecture him. What the fuck just happened to me? Yeah, Wilkins is kind of just like warning him about his behavior. He says like, I was just like you when I was your age, until my dad taught me how to respect the holiday. While he's talking to him, he's like creepily carving this pumpkin with a big ass knife. And yeah, you just feel uncomfortable for the kid here. He gives him a piece of candy. The kid bites it and he starts throwing up. So we know Wilkins is out here poisoning kids, because this kid is throwing up. Like, guys, no, stop. Like, this kid is throwing up, like, for real. And in fact, he throws up so much that he dies. I didn't say it was funny. While he's trying to drag this little boy into his house, I guess to just finish him off or whatever he plans on doing, he gets visitors. Some more trick-or-treaters. He opens the door, and it's a group of kids that we're going to be following in this movie as well. But for now, they're just trick-or-treating at their principal's house. He has blood all over his shirt from that little boy throwing up on him. None of the kids seem to think it's weird, except for the one little pirate kid. He's kind of like, what the hell are you doing there, Mr. Wilkins? Sam has no respect for personal space because he's literally standing right behind the pirate kid. As the pirate kid turns around, he kind of even creeps out Mr. Wilkins. Sam just takes a piece of candy and leaves. As he's walking down the steps, you hear a cat in his bag. But Mr. Wilkins he don't have time to be concerned. I want you to notice the candy bar that Sam takes. Remember that? Put that in your pocket. So then we go to Mr. Wilkins in the backyard burying a body while there's already a body in a hole. So he just like kills people. His annoying son is in the window screaming down to him and he's like, shut up, kid. Like, I'm trying to do something here. Then we get a dog barking. This dude is overwhelmed in this moment. The annoying kid, dog barking. He like throws a finger to distract the dog. The dog goes running. A finger that he cuts off of a corpse, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But the neighbor, whose dog it was, comes over and he's like, what are you doing in there? And he kind of just blames it on fixing my septic tank. You couldn't think of something better than fixing the septic tank? What's more embarrassing? You kill kids or your shit big? Krieg just believes him or doesn't care, so he just turns around. He yells, screw you, to Mr. Wilkins before going into his house. After Wilkins is done burying people, he's walking into his house. He sees his neighbor in his window screaming for his help, and he's like, he gets his retaliation bar off. He gets to say, screw you, back to him. He walks into his house. Krieg gets tackled by somebody. But we don't know what's going on in his house just yet. So when we get inside, we get Mr. Wilkins walking his son downstairs. They're kind of setting it up to look like he's about to kill his son. He lifts a knife in the air, stabs it down, and It's not his son. It's the boy he just murdered after feeding him poison candy. It's his head, and he's teaching his son how to carve jack-o'-lanterns out of little kid's head. Kids die in this movie? What the shit? In our next story, now we have the kids that we just saw at Mr. Wilkins' house, and they're at another house trick-or-treating. It happens to be another teacher from their school, and they're having like a freaky adult party. And she also invites them in to drink and party with them. But they decline because they have a mission to go on. Part of their night consists of stealing jack-o'-lanterns from people's houses because they want to gather a certain amount of jack-o'-lanterns for whatever they have planned out. There's this little girl dressed as an angel, which she is not. She's dressed as an angel, and she seems to be like the ringleader who's in charge of the whole plan they have tonight. One of the kids stealing jack-o'-lanterns asks her, "Hey, is this enough?" She says, "Almost." So then we see them walking up to Rhonda's house, which is full of jack-o'-lanterns all over the place, jack-o'-lanterns. So I want to say maybe that's one reason they invited her, was to get the rest of the jack-o'-lanterns they need. But also, Rhonda is clearly not usually part of their friend group. They like kind of stand out as like bully, mean kids, and she looks like a more reserved, kind, gullible girl that they could bring along just to play a trick on. Want to know what they do to her? Can't say it yet. We switch stories right now. We go to someone else's story. Ha! So now we're brought back to this parade that was happening downtown. You remember the parade. We go like through streets into an alleyway where we see a guy and a girl hooking up. The guy's wearing a mask. You can't tell who he is. So they're like making out, and he goes to look like he's kissing her neck, but you see blood start coming down. Look at his mouth. Fangs. He's a vampire. The girl ends up like looking for help. She's walking out of the alleyway, but she actually runs into the couple that's arguing at the beginning. Emma and Henry. People keep bumping into them. She's asking them for their help, but they kind of ignore her. They just think maybe she's just like a drunk girl in a blood costume. The guy that bit her on the neck gets her, puts her down, rests her up against a restaurant so she could just die there. Okay, so now we're back with the kids at the abandoned quarry. It's like full of fog, real creepy. Kids shouldn't be here. Macy is the girl who's in the angel costume, by the way. So she's leading the way. The kids are acting like, "Hey, what are we doing here?" And she goes on to tell a story. It's a town legend about something that took place on the exact spot they were standing. On Halloween night 30 years ago, there was a school bus driver with a bus full of troubled and disturbed kids. The kids look incredibly unsettling. Apparently, these kids had parents who were so terribly ashamed of their kids that they put all their money together, like some sort of fucked up GoFundMe, and they paid this bus driver off to kill the kid. The flashback shows him checking their restraints on the bus, parked up again on this cliff. I guess his plan is to, put something heavy on the gas, drive them off the cliff, and then he makes off like a bandit thief, kid-killing thief in the night thief. But while he's doing that, he's at the back of the bus checking someone's restraints. One kid breaks out because he wants to go home. He runs to the front of the bus and he puts the bus in drive, driving them all off of the cliff. All the kids, the bus driver included. More dead kids. That's 8 more dead kids. Death kid count is at 9 now. But they also show that the bus driver lived. So this is the legend in the town that this happened. And this is why they gathered 8 jack-o'-lanterns as kind of like an offering to the dead for the 8 kids that died. But this girl's clearly up to something. They're using this like really small, weak-looking elevator to go down deep into the quarry. Takes 2 of her friends on there with her, leaving Rhonda with the pirate kid saying, "Sorry, you can't fit." She'll send it back up to get them. So she goes down, sends it back up. Now we got Rhonda and the pirate kid going down the elevator. As they're going down through the fog, they can see the kids carrying their jack-o'-lanterns. One of them screams, jack-o'-lantern goes out. Then all the jack-o'-lanterns burn out just as the elevator reaches the bottom. So Rhonda is terrified, but she's brave enough to actually leave the elevator, and she tells the pirate kid, "Stay here, the jack-o'-lanterns will protect you." I felt so bad for her. So as she goes out and she's trying to like explore what happened, she sees the school bus down there crashed at the bottom of the quarry. So the story is true. Then she starts getting approached by dead kids. She tries to run back to the elevator. When she gets back there, the little pirate kid is on the ground getting his sausage guts ate. She tries to run again, falls, hits her head, and she gets hurt. Then you see the little dead kids take their masks off, and it was the mean kids, playing a mean prank on her. These kids need to be like set designers or like at least like prop department for Broadway. They put together a nice little prank there. So they're like, cool prank, I guess, but there's really like a bus here. You guys see that? Now real dead kids come out. They get like shootout chains and grab one of the mean kids and drag them into the fog. So now they're all running. Rhonda happens to be the one to make it to the elevator first, and she shuts the door behind her. The kids are standing there begging her to let them in, and she thinks about it, but she presses up. She don't know if y'all pranking her again. That's what y'all get. That's what y'all get. So satisfying. And as the elevator go up, you just, I guess, hear all the kids just getting killed down there by other kids. Kid death count at like 13 now. Rhonda was clearly being bullied, and she's clearly a character who cares about and respects the holiday. As she reaches the top of the elevator, Sam is there, and they're like face to face, not face to face, but they spot each other from afar. They peep each other. They kind of just like keep it pushing, walk past each other. Same. Oh, so Sam lets you live if you respect the holiday. See, he's nice. Now we go back to Lori, the girl who's dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, and now she's walking alone in the woods because she told her friends that she'll go on her own to find a man. So, like, so far in the movie, they put off that she's, like, a helpless, quiet, nerdy, innocent girl. She's walking through the woods alone, and she comes face to face with that vampire guy from earlier that was wearing a mask. I ain't gonna lie, this was a bar. He puts her up against the tree and goes, "My, what big eyes you have." But he has fangs, so it like looks cool when he does it. He goes to bite her neck, you hear her scream, and then it cuts the scene. Now we're at the party where her friends are, waiting for her, and you see a body in a red hood fall down from the trees. So they're kind of scared, like, you know, they see the body in the red hood fall. They're like, oh shit, this must be her. They approach it, they pull the hood back, and it's the vampire guy in his mask. Not only that, the fangs were fake. They taped them out of his mouth. Not only that, they unmask him and he's Mr. Wilkins. So this man is out here pretending to be a monster, but he ran into some real monsters. There's always someone out there crazier than you is what they used to say in my hood, Delsey Drive. But he's like terrified and he goes, "Who are you?" Lori comes out and starts doing some freaky seance shit. She looks different. She has like her hair curly and now she's like cool. Like, I told you I was a badass. I just hate when movies do that to like the nerd characters. They try to like change their hair and like now the whole character is different. But we'll understand why this is like this. Turns out they're werewolves. She peels her skin off and she's werewolves. And she's a werewolf, and they do whatever they do to him. But that's what these girls do. They're actually werewolves, and they put on human skin bodies and walk around during Halloween finding men and, like, hump them to death. Now is where you could get, like, possibly a little confused here, like, with the timeline. Because now they take us back to a little earlier in the night when Wilkins was still alive. We're now seeing what Krieg, the grumpy neighbor, was up to when he caught Wilkins burying people. He's just, throwing away some damning evidence from 30 years ago into a fire. Why did you have that shit? He has a sack of candy and he goes to take a bite of a candy bar, immediately spitting it out. It must be from like that shitty poison batch that Wilkins was giving out. Oh yeah, how he got the bag. He was like, I guess that night he was scaring kids off of his property and stealing their candy. The parents in this town, on this street specifically. He hears someone outside and it looks like Sam got in. Then he hears barking in his backyard. He goes to check out what the dog's barking at and who he saw run through his yard. And that's when he spotted Wilkins earlier saying he was fixing the septic tank. So yeah, they show Krieg talking to Wilkins again and go back into his house. And now we know he has a pretty rough night ahead of him. He like literally gets into a full-on brawl with Sam. The whole scene really did keep me on the edge of my seat. I thought it was cool, especially like Sam running by upstairs. That part made me jump. But during their fight, when Sam comes out from under the bed and cuts Krieg's foot, you see the candy bar that he's using is the same candy bar he got from Wilkins earlier. So Wilkins was even putting razor blades in kids' candy. So, like, if he didn't get killed that night, he would have at least got arrested. Like, there's no way they don't draw that back to him. All right, so during this fight scene, we also get Krieg's perspective of what happened earlier when we saw him screaming at the window for Mr. Wilkins' help and get tackled. After that, Sam is on top of him, and he pulls off his mask. Shit, it's worse. Krieg is able to get his shotgun and blast him across the floor. He gets 2 more shots off on him, and one of them is like to his hand. It like shoots his hand off. Pumpkin guts flying everywhere. He's made of pumpkin. Krieg gets up to call the cops, but Sam's hand crawls across the floor and stabs him again in the foot. And then the hand crawls back to Sam and reattaches perfectly. He's good as new. So now Krieg is on the floor and Sam is like walking him down with his lollipop. He takes a bite of the lollipop and goes to stab him in the stomach, but he gets saved by a candy bar. Sam picks up the candy bar, takes a bite, and then just walks off like he's done. I thought he like took a bite of one of Mr. Wilkins' fucking poison candy bars and he had to go take a shit. So he was like, whoop. But no, I think that what really happened here was that Sam had more pressing matters to attend to. Now it's revealed to us that the photo that Krieg was throwing away was a picture of him with the students on the bus. Yeah, I spoiled it earlier before I got to this part, but that's what he was throwing away. The secret was that he was the bus driver on the bus that killed the kids. Krieg must look at this as like a second chance to appreciate the holiday, because now when kids come knocking on his door, he's giving them candy. He's not scaring them off. He's actually participating. Now, this moment here is where we open the movie. Rhonda's walking across the street by herself, almost getting hit. Inside the car is the werewolf girls. Wilkins' son is like sitting on the porch handing out candy. He's wearing his dad's shirt, so now we know that at this point, his dad left, and he's not coming back. Don't worry, I heard that same bar, too, when I was a kid. Sorry, guys, my camera died, but I'm going to continue to finish this story off. Okay, so then we also see the couple from the beginning of the movie. Sam happened to be standing there because he just got done whooping Krieg's ass, remember? The lady started taking down the decorations, so Sam had to slide. I don't know if he left Krieg alone because he, like, sensed this happening, or because he knew that something else was going to happen to Krieg, because Krieg's next trick-or-treaters happened to be the kids that were killed from the quarry. They got that offering from those little bully kids. They killed them in the quarry, and then they came for Krieg. You know what? I'll be honest. The first time watching this movie, I was kind of upset. I felt like it wasn't good enough to be this big of a Halloween classic, but I'm man enough to admit that it was my fault. I just didn't follow the story. I didn't pay enough attention to really appreciate it. On my second watch, I do like it a lot more. They did great with the jump scares. It was a wild-ass storyline. The characters, I guess, were enjoyable for the most part. The best thing about this movie, though, is that you never forget that it takes place on Halloween. There's some Halloween elements in every single shot, and movies like that always end up becoming like a comfort watch for me. Let's go to my favorite segment, though, Recast Corner, where I have to recast some of the lead roles in the movie to see if we could create a better cast. Okay, so we're going to recast Krieg, Wilkins, and Laurie. Starting with Krieg, I want to go ahead and pick Jeff Bridges, the dude. He can be funny, he can be scared, he has range. I'll add him to almost any old man role. Next up is Laurie. I don't really like this spot for Anna Paquin, if I'm being honest. I think putting Sophie Thatcher in this spot would actually be a better casting. I don't ever make these and think like, oh, this person will be better. It's kind of just to be funny. But in this situation, I think that she could play the role better if the movie was remade. No shade, though. No shade type shit. Sorry. Okay, best for last. This one will actually be tough to recast because he played this so well. This is for Mr. Wilkins. You got to be somebody who could be like wholesome and nerdy looking enough to the point where they become creepy. And I think my choice is going to be a reach. I'll put Glenn Howerton at this role. I know. I think that since this movie is like over the top horror with like humor as the undertone, I feel like he'll make it work. I was thinking of like him or Jason Bateman. Just wasn't sure if Jason Bateman could be creepy enough. Next segment is Flashback Rental. This is where I give you 2 movies to watch that you might like if you like this movie. Of course, I got to start with the OG anthology, Creep Show. Not much explanation needed. It's from 1982, and I'm sure it's the inspiration for a lot of horror stories like this. Next, I got something we might hear about another time. Wink, wink. The Faculty. It's not an anthology. It's not exactly a Halloween-y movie, but it is horror, and it does involve staff from school being creepy. My rating for Trick or Treat is going to be, don't be mad at me, I'm giving it a 3.5. I would totally understand a 4. Some people might even give it more. I'm saying 3.5 because it's like an average movie for me. It's great for Halloween. I'm not sure if it's even an every year watch for me, though. There's not much in there that I care to go back and rewatch again. So 3.5 is my rating. And remember, that's above average, so don't kill me. Subscribe to the email list to see what movie I'm watching next week and keep up with that.